it will be helpful if you have a pen, paper, and we'll be set to go just in a few minutes. I'm just going to use the chat for a while. I would request if you could keep your microphones on mute. It's up to you whether you want to keep your video on or you just want your name or your picture, that's fine. Just requesting for the microphones to be on mute, because then, and when you want to speak, you can always unmute yourself and talk. It just keeps it a little more quiet for us to go ahead. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put this in the chat, and I will have the chat window open, and I will be answering it as we go forward. You do not have to wait for the end of the session to ask your questions, because in my experience, most of the time, you know, we lose it. We don't remember what our questions were. Sometimes it just comes in when we want to, when there's a slide or when we are discussing something. I'm still admitting people, so I'm just going to give it a little while more. Munira, welcome. So pen and paper will be helpful. Please keep your mics on mute. Use the chat box. And yes, Tazeen, me too, looking forward to it. I always enjoy my seminars. Ayana, welcome. And hello to everyone. Okay. I've just put up a slide. So if any of you can just tell me if you can see the slide. Just put it in your chat. So I know that we are able to see it. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll make a start now, and if anybody else joins in, we are going to. I'm just going to maybe do a little recap, or if they have questions in the end. So pen and paper ready, mics on mute, and here we go. So welcome everyone, and my name is Arpita. I'm a hypnotherapist and a mind science specialist at Illuminations. Just to give you a little brief about myself and what brings me here today. Well, I studied economics. I'm an MBA, and I've worked in the corporate sector for close to 15 years. And then mind science happened to me. So I was struggling with something on my own, which I couldn't find a good solution to anywhere else. So I was brought into this world of mind science. I came to Illuminations many years back as a client. And at that point of time, coming from the corporate world, probably, you know, I was more left brain. So I wanted to see a logic and an answer to whatever the issue was. And what fascinated me at that time was hypnotherapy. And I did a few sessions, and it worked really well for me. And later I came back and I said, you know what, I'm going to study this, because I didn't plan to be a therapist. I had a good job. I really enjoyed my job. But long story short, here I am in front of you. It took me 2 years to wrap up my corporate career, which I now call the first innings of my career. And hypnotherapy led to regression therapy, led to family constellations, metaphor therapy. I love and I enjoy working with children. And I have been very, very passionate about this field, and hence this is the reason I am here with you today as well, talking about something that we are all going through. COVID-19, we didn't know about it. We were not warned about it. It happened to us. And of course, it's been painful. It's brought in a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fears for us. But at the same time, today we'll look at how, we can use whatever emotions have been triggered in us, whatever has come up that probably we have faced our own worst fears during this time. And even though things are slowly getting back to normal now, we have social distancing. We are still getting used to what we call the new normal. So today's topic is to understand how we can heal our toxic emotions that have been triggered from one aspect of what we have gone through, and that is social isolation. So triggers from social isolation. Now, each one of us, and we are quite a few of us here on Zoom, and this is also live on Facebook. So we are quite a handful of people here. And at this time, I'm just going to take you through first what has been reported as the triggers of social isolation. Now, this is not a list that applies to all of us. Neither is it a list that says, okay, you have to fall in one of the categories. These are the top globally, top effects that have been observed due to social isolation. Loneliness, poor sleep quality, lack of motivation, anxiety, loss of cognitive capability, and depression. Now, I would like you to have a look at this list, but I don't want you to pick up anything from here. Give yourselves a moment. Go back 2-3 months before, 6 months before, how life was, and then slowly remember how this COVID situation has happened, how we are still getting used to fighting our triggers that are coming out of it. And take 1 minute. And take 1 minute to write down what has been your top observed effect of social isolation. And you don't have to share it. This is a group, but just take 2-3 minutes. Maybe it's a good idea to write down 1, 2, or 3 elements that you have faced personally in your life. It could be work related. For example, it could be that, I really enjoy going to work, or I enjoy the energy when I'm working with a team, and that's gone out of the window. We're working from home, we're isolated. It could be that I love meeting my friends, and that has not happened. It could be that any of your family members that you could think that you could just get into a flight and go and see someone, or somebody could come and see you, has stopped. Or it could be that I'm stuck home, homeschooling my children, which I never thought I would, and that kind of triggers something in me. Or as much as I love my family, now I've been isolated from the world outside, and I'm in my own shell. These are just examples, and I'm saying it. Some of it is my own, some of it what I hear from my clients when I work with them. So take a few minutes, and please, if you feel like it, in the chat box, just name, if you would like to, what has been the topmost emotion that you felt that has come out. If you're free to share, it's fine. You can unmute and talk as well. If not, you can put it on the chat, and if you don't want to share, that's also okay. But I'm going to give it 1 minute for people to respond. Munira says, I sleep more than before and I eat a lot. Yes. Thank you, Munira, for being so upfront and sharing it. Yes. Restless sleep. Okay, yeah. Yeah, these are what you're writing, and it's very helpful because we are going to build our talk today around all these symptoms. So these are symptoms. This is like something that you have observed that is happening to you. So identify that for yourself. If you're okay, you can share it with the group. But yeah, these are very, very big ones, because a restless sleep can actually, affect your day the next day. Or the other side of it is sleeping more. Like, I wish I could be in bed a few minutes more. Eating a lot. Um, okay. So going back to our screen. And we have Tazeen also saying anxiety about going back to work and coping with the commute. True, true. I completely resonate with you, Tazeen. Though my workplace is not very far away, but we have that's the flip side. There's also a comfort in this isolation, and then coping with the commute is, though for me it's not a big amount of time, but of course that's been on my mind personally as well. And yes, anxiety about going back to work, because some things, as I was listening to one of my teachers the other day, and what struck me is he used the word, some things have changed irrevocably. We will go back to normal. Maybe it will take us some time, but there has been an imprint on all of us, and that is what we are going to talk about today, because what we are discussing is just the tip of the iceberg. We are just talking about the symptoms. There is something deeper that is triggering all these symptoms for us: our sleep, our anxiety, our worries, our eating, all of it. So in today's talk, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I'm going to just present to you a very broad outline of how we will approach it. The first thing is, we are looking at something which we call as the holistic approach, which means we consider ourselves that we are human beings and we are alive, and we are just not our physical bodies. And I'm sure you would agree with that, that we just don't exist in our bodies. What makes me alive vis-a-vis my computer here are two different things, because there's an element in me which keeps me alive. Now, call it the energy, call it the chi, call it the prana, call it soul, but there is something that keeps me alive. And there's also an inherent intelligence in me that helps me navigate through life. And that's what brings us to the concept of mind. So for us, being alive, there are actually components that we are going to talk today about the physical body, which is very easy for us to reconcile with, because it's tangible. We can feel if there's a pain, if there's an indication, we can connect to our bodies. But we also have two other intangible elements that sometimes we don't take cognizance of. One is energy, is, as we said, like the prana, the energy, the chi, the soul, whatever we want to call it. And then there is a mind. Now, a very nice way of explaining this is, imagine you have a car, and there's a car standing in front of your house, which is your own car. Now you want to go from your home to your workplace. Just having the car is not enough, which means that though you have a beautiful car and it has an engine, the body of the car, the engine, is like our physical bodies. We need it. There is no existence without this. However, this is not the only thing that will make me go from one point to another. So the engine of the car, or the body of the car, is what is similar to our physical body. Now, what do we all again need on top of our body? We need petrol. We need the fuel in the car that will make it move. The fuel in the car is not visible from the outside. We just see the body of the car, but the fuel is like the energy, our prana, our life force. Now, having a car in front of your house, tank full of petrol, is also not good enough for me to reach point A to B. What I'm missing is the driver. And the driver is what we call as the mind, the intangible asset with which we are interacting with our environment. So today, when we talk of social isolation, the impacts of it, we will look at it at all the three levels. And one may resonate with you more and one may resonate less, but we are trying to give you a holistic way of looking at what is exactly happening in your mind, in your body, and in your energy system. I will just take one moment for the participants who came in a little late. Just to reinforce, it will be helpful if you have a pen and paper so you can write down. I would prefer old school pen and paper rather than the writing on the phone or on the laptop, because we'll get into it later. Writing is a subconscious function, so you will already start to delve a little deeper. You can keep your mics on mute. If you want to ask a question, we are a small group here. You could easily unmute it and talk, or you can use the chat box for sending in any comments. I'm constantly looking at it, and you can stop me anytime to ask any questions. I'm completely okay with that. So going back to our presentation. So with this holistic model, we're now going to the next thing we get into is get a little more deeper into understanding these three concepts: the mind, the body, and the energy. And that what the model that I'm going to explain to you is what we call as taking a integrated approach. It's the same way, we're talking the same holistic model, but now from a different angle. When we say integrated, we approach again that our life and the fact that we are living is just not in our physical bodies. In holistic sciences, we believe that we exist at 4 different levels. One of which is very physical, easy for us to understand, but we also have our existence in 3 other subtle bodies that cannot be touched, or they're not tangible, so you cannot touch them, but the fact is they exist. The first body that we talk of is called the body of thoughts, or a causal body. Now, this can also be explained from a different angle. Everything on the earth, if you think about it, all our inventions, the way life is moving forward, everything started with a thought. Someone thought of an electric bulb and then it was invented. So thoughts is what we call as the seed of creation. Everything begins with it. Now, whether we are conscious of it or not conscious is a secondary issue, but we're talking of the genesis of every growth development comes from thoughts. So we not only exist in physical body, we have a body of thoughts which is called the causal body. Now, how do I connect to it? How do I sense it? We will do a 5-second exercise. Wherever you are, whichever way you're seated, take a good look at yourself and make a mental note of what clothes are you wearing at the moment. How is your hair? What kind of earrings do you have? Do you have any makeup on? Just get an understanding of your physical appearance and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, now imagine you're wearing the same set of clothes, and now instead of being in your room, you're standing on Mount Everest. Just create that in your mind, the picture of you at Mount Everest. And now open your eyes and come back to your room. So what happened here is you went nowhere. Your physical body was exactly where it was supposed to be. But when you close your eyes, and now it depends, each person will have a different experience. You either thought of Mount Everest, or it's very easy to know what I'm wearing, so it's okay to imagine that you're standing there. Why? Because I know what I'm wearing and I know how Mount Everest would look like. Now, what you experience in those few seconds is your causal body, the body of your thoughts. So the causal body is not tangible, it cannot be touched, but it can be felt. And that's the body of thoughts where you can project yourself on Mount Everest. Now, every thought gives rise to an emotion. So now we are coming closer to our topic, and we are coming closer to even our physical body. If I think of my cute little puppy at home, it gives a smile on my face. Why? Because, oh, I have good emotions, positive emotions coming up. Now, if I think of a missed deadline, which I had to send something to someone yesterday, my breath drops and I feel heavy, or I feel guilty, or it's not a great thing. So the second thing is the body of emotions, what we sometimes refer to as our astral body. And you may have heard this, or read it in papers, that sometimes when a new mother has just left her baby at home and goes to office to work after her maternity break is over. And when the baby cries at home for milk, the mother lactates at the work. Now see, there is no connection of thoughts there. There is no physical body connection there. But these things that we hear of and we say, wow, see, this is how the mind works or energy works, is in a very simple way, you can describe it as the astral body of the baby connected to the astral body of the mother, because that's probably the greatest bond that we have on earth. When we have a thought that creates an emotion, the next thing that we feel is energy. So now, from the body of thoughts, emotions, we now feel it in our energy body. Any of you are familiar with the word aura or chakras? You can share in your chat screen. Yes, both. Thank you. So, yes, have heard of it. Energy centers, correct. Now, when we talk of our energy body, I'm going to give it a very short description of it, but we're going to work in more details as we progress on our energy body as well. Because see, it's all related. We'll work on our thoughts, we'll work on our emotions, we'll work on our energy body, and that impacts our physical body. So, aura is the electromagnetic field that is all around us. Every living creature has an aura, and nowadays there are ways to actually photograph your aura and get a reading for that. And the chakras are, as Rama Ali says, correct, energy centers. So these are, chakra means a wheel. These are energy centers in our body. There are more than 108 chakras, but we are going to today talk of the 7 major ones. And these are the wheels or the vortices through which our life force flows. So there is crown, there's third eye, there's throat, there's heart, and so on and so forth. Now, why this is important and why I'm bringing this up today is because if you look at the location of the chakras and side by side, if you look at human anatomy, it is absolutely amazing to see that each chakra is actually placed above one endocrine gland. So hypothalamus, pineal, thyroid, thymus, and you go on. So it is a different way of saying that when I have thoughts that create toxic emotions, this now has an impact on my energy body, in my aura, in my chakras. And if this emotion is toxic and if this emotion is negative, my chakras get blocked. In other words, the flow of energy is no longer smooth. If you look at it medically, we would say that there is hormonal imbalance. So instead of my body metabolizing in the way it should or functioning in the way it should, it is now producing toxins instead of producing the right amount of chemicals, which is what we call our hormones. And when our hormones start to get not regulated, they're all over the place, it is then we feel the impact in our physical bodies, which is the brain, which is the body functions. Now our body functions start to get affected. Today we're going to look at all the 4 bodies, understand how working at each level. So this is not to say that one is better than the other. Doctors work on our physical bodies and I have huge respect for them. There's nothing wrong. That's the level at which doctors work. Energy healers work at the level of energy, auras, chakras. Therapists, hypnotherapists, regression therapists, we work at the level of thoughts. It's like a cycle. It's not that one is better than the other. Even for today's exercise, see which one resonates with you more. But this is the cycle in which we can either create, and manifest the life we want, or we can be in the downward spiral where something, the environment or me or someone else triggers certain thoughts, which impacts my emotion, makes it toxic, impacts my energy body, my endocrine system, my metabolism goes for a toss. I'm not saying that is the cause, but someone mentioned about eating a lot and sleeping more or restless sleep. So these are all imbalances that we are facing. So each one of you, thank you for sharing. what you're sharing, your symptoms, now you can see in the physical body. But it's only coming after it has gone through all the layers. Now, it doesn't take so much time for it to happen. I'm explaining to you, hence it's broken down. This will happen in the fraction of a second. So, okay, I don't think there are any more comments. Now, we are going to focus first on emotions and hormones. So, look at what you wrote down earlier about either the symptoms or emotions. Now, you don't again have to share if you feel like you can, but now try to go a level deeper. For example, if I have restless sleep, what does it make me feel? Slowly now start to get in touch with your emotions. Now, we know that whatever the symptoms are, it is a result of my toxic thoughts and then emotions. Now, one way, and a very, very easy way to deal with emotions is connecting them to our hormones. And we are not talking about taking medicines here, but we are looking at the second exercise of today that can help you pump these happy hormones in your system. When we do things in life that make us feel good, our body responds by releasing happy hormones. And they are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. When I can get out of my house and depressed, angry, hurt, the body responds by creating toxins. The other way of looking at it is the body then starts to produce cortisols, which are your stress hormones. The result remains the same. We now feel the impact of this push and pull. Now, if you look at this 4, it's very easy to remember, and that's the reason I picked it up today. Let's look at how you're going to remember this. You're going to remember this as your daily dose of happiness. Dose is an acronym for the 4 hormones that we are talking about today. The dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the endorphin. Now, very consciously working on these hormones. So let's look at how do they impact us. So endorphins are released when we look after our body, we feel fit and healthy. I don't know where the charity came from, that's not the right one. So just focus on the first one, when we look after our body and we feel healthy and happy. So when we exercise, when we do something for our physical bodies, endorphins are released. Now, with your pen and paper, now write down that one activity that you can do, even if you're still at home, if you're working from home, if you're still homeschooling your kids and you're not able to go out, or you don't feel yet it's the time to go out, just think of one activity, one thing that you can do that will help you look after your body. You will feel fit and healthy. Dance is awesome. Yes. Yes. And you can write it down for yourself, whatever comes to your mind, which is easily doable. Eat sweet. It does actually, it does. But eat sweet in a proportion that doesn't. Walk. Yeah. If you feel good, anything that you're doing for your body. Now, sorry for this mistake. The charity part should have come in the second one, which is serotonin. So now how you can increase serotonin in your body. Serotonin gets secreted when we do something completely unconditionally for others. when we do good things for other people, even before, even if they've not asked for it, when we do charity, and when we connect with nature. So again, in your own setup, please write down that one activity that you can do for others. So I'm going to just give you one example, and that's as fresh as yesterday. My children are learning about waste management, and I think we went out to throw the garbage, and that was the exact time when the garbage truck came. So my daughter ran inside and she packed some fruits and she gave it to the guy who was picking up our garbage. And that look on his face, because he didn't expect, neither did we do anything extraordinary. It was a very small act of kindness from a child. But at that moment, I could connect between me, my daughter, and the man. We know that something good happened. And that thought has stayed with me, though I didn't do. My daughter did it, so I have to credit her for my serotonin level to also go up. But something really small that you can do for maybe your house help. Maybe you can do it for your security guard who's around you. Maybe you could do it for a stranger. Doesn't matter. Make a note of what you can do, which will be either connecting to nature. You can do something for nature as well, or you could do something which is very unconditional. And then comes oxytocin. Now, this is the number one thing for us, because oxytocin fosters bonding. We connect and bond with people. This is secreted when mother is bonding with the newborn child. Now, this is what is affected most in social isolation, because we are unable to bond. And for some, though there is ample opportunities to do everything online, but bonding sometimes is also touch. And hence, this is a major dip that research shows of oxytocin levels in people. So again, write down on that piece of paper, what can you do staying at home? What can make you feel that you're connecting with people? And I've realized, again, very personally, I have been in touch with my school friends or college friends with whom I lost contact. And it was always on my list, yeah, we're going to do that Zoom call. Yes, we're going to do something sometime. And it never happened, but it did happen during this phase. So please write down for yourself how from wherever you are, you can bond and connect with people. Instagram, Twitter, doesn't matter. Whatever it is okay for you, and it will give you a sense of connecting with people. Thank you, Munira. And the last one is dopamine. And dopamine gets secreted when we accomplish things. When I set a goal and I achieve it. And this is what we miss, especially for ones who go out to work. You click a deal, you convert a client, and that high that you get of accomplishing things. That we have, if we are missing out due to the social isolation, look at what you could achieve at home or when you're working from home. So just make, and for now, just make 1 or 2 points for each, but we're going to take this back. And after we finish the seminar, please sit down and spend 5 minutes with it and make a list of at least 3, 4, 5 things under each category. And then choose what you can do. You may want to do 1 per day. You may want to do all the 4 in 1 day, but just keep it visible near you. So if you're writing it down, put it on a post-it or keep it where it is visible for you to see it. Because the more we see it, the more are the chances of we actually doing these activities. Rama, I have seen your comment, and it's not which one. It could be any of it. Now, overweight can also be a hormonal issue, but I'm not a doctor, so I won't be able to comment on which hormone is affecting obesity. Let me pause, and I will take your question at the end of the seminar. But I have seen your comment, and I'll come back to you. Okay. So this is the chart that you will take with you, and you can keep filling in. You can do it as a family as well. You can do it with your office colleagues as a challenge as well. I have seen it work very, very beautifully with a group, because more or less we are all going through somewhat similar situation. And now that brings us to the third segment. So we're talking of physical body, which you all mentioned, your symptoms that you see in the physical body. We spoke of the energy body, and now we are coming to the science of the mind. Now we are going to look at the thought body, at the body of emotions, and then we will go and do our exercise related to the mind. Now we have heard this many times that that the thoughts are extremely powerful, and it is the thoughts that determine how we feel. So our emotions, our feelings actually come from our thoughts. That's what we did. We looked at in the previous slide, which means how we habitually think each day, every day. We think anywhere between 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day, 80% of which is repetitive. So if we can change the way we feel, if we want to change that, there's a correlation to our thoughts, which means that if we are able to change the way we think, there's a very high chance of the way we are going to feel. But the question is how? So obviously, the thoughts that we are getting is coming from many sources. It's coming from the immediate triggers that we have in our environment. It comes from our own belief systems, which we are brought up with, which we have inculcated. It comes through our experiences in life. And all of that gets stored in our mind. So now that leads us to understanding of the human mind. And I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm going to ask you to share your thoughts on what do you think is mind. This is what we say very frequently. We use the mind, I lost my mind, or my mind is going bonkers. What do you think is mind? Where is your mind? So whatever comes to your mind, just share on the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you wish to. And let's see, even with the small group that we have today, how do we define mind? Yes, my ability to process information and think and learn. Yes, yes. Pretty well defined. Thoughts and feelings. You're right. Both of you are right. But you're right. Now go a level deeper and tell me, where is the mind? Where is my mind? Where is your mind? It's in the brain. Brain is the brain. Because we have two different words, the brain and the mind. But brain is, and I'm going to get into the details of differentiating between the two. But the mind works through the brain, you can say, but brain is not equal to the mind. One would think in your head or brain, this is exactly, when I came to study hypnotherapy, I was fixated. I was like, no, brain and mind is the same. But it is not. Komal, I see your message. Yes, I will recap it. Don't worry. I'm just going to finish this section so that you go through this section, you do the exercise, and I will be very happy to take you through it once we are nearing the end. Yeah, Tazeen, heart also has a connection to the mind. You're right. I'm going to come to that. It's fine. So all of you, whatever you've said is absolutely right. None of you are wrong. I'm just bringing it in a different perspective. And the definition that you have here is what I found in Oxford Dictionary, because as I said, when I came to study, I was like, no. This has to be, mind and brain has to be same. But even if you look at Oxford Dictionary, you see that it's defined as an element of a person, which means it's not a physical organ. It's the intangible element of a person that enables them to be aware of the world and experiences. So call it my intellect, call it my consciousness, call it my thought, my ability. Somebody said ability to think and feel. All of that intangible source, or that intangible asset with which I'm experiencing life and with which I'm experiencing the world is what we call as the mind. So it is actually a tool. It is a very powerful force, and as we start to understand it, we know that either I can control my mind and I can make things happen in a particular way, or if I don't understand that, my mind can take my control. So it can take us to huge levels of happiness and success, and it can also plunge us to the depths of misery. Now, coming to talking about the brain and the mind, imagine that the body, or including the brain, imagine it's like the hardware. Like I have a computer right in front of me, my laptop, and every time I'm changing a slide, I am tapping on it. The brain is exactly like that. The brain is the hardware which can be touched, which has a form and a shape. But I'm reaching out to you through Zoom, and I'm reaching out to you through PowerPoint, Excel, through Microsoft PowerPoint. That is a software. Now, no matter how much I try, I can never touch Microsoft PowerPoint. I cannot touch Zoom, but I can utilize it when it works through the hardware. That is the only difference. Mind is the software that works on the hardware, and then your chemicals are secreted from the brain, it affects our hormones, and so on and so forth. It's a powerful tool, which if we learn to utilize can be to our benefit. Now, it's a very interesting definition of mind I have here. In holistic sciences, we say that the mind is a vibrating ball of energy located all around us, the center of which is the pit of your stomach. The organ that is at the pit of all of our stomach is the intestine, is the gut. So there are many schools of thought who believe that gut is also another point through which the mind operates. So yes, somebody spoke of heart, true. So there's the brain mind, there is the heart mind, and there's the gut. This is where the phrase gut feeling comes. Gut is not feeling anything. Gut is only digesting our food. But the fact remains that we use this phrase, I have a gut feeling about this person, or I had a gut feeling about this situation. So whatever it is, all the organs, consider them as the hardware and the software of the mind working through it. This brings us, and I will very briefly touch upon this because it's more important that you do the exercise with me, but this gives you an understanding. Now, somebody said consciousness. So the mind that we are talking about, mind has, of course, two parts. Mind has a conscious part and a subconscious part. The conscious part is around 10 to 12%. All of us at the moment are using our conscious mind to get information, which means there is a bigger part which is subconscious. So what does our conscious mind do? Exactly what we are doing at the moment. We think, we logic, we analyze, we feel, there's decision making, there's judgment, and all of that happens in the conscious mind. Then what happens in the subconscious mind? What happens is subconscious mind keeps us alive, and it also works as a storage house, like an archive. When I say survival, our primitive response to any threat, our fight and flight is stored in our subconscious mind. All our internal body functions are governed by subconscious mind. Hence, we can raise our left hands and wave at each other. Conscious voluntary movements are governed by the conscious mind. Involuntary internal organ movement or their functioning is governed by the subconscious. Hence, we can wave our hands, but we cannot control the rate at which my liver is functioning. And the second function that subconscious mind has is storage. So imagine every moment of your life is captured in files, and it's like an archive. It's like the hard drive of your computer where you've saved all your experiences. Not only is the conscious mind 10% and the subconscious mind 90% approximately, the strength of the conscious mind, if it is 1x, the strength of the subconscious mind is 6,000 times. This is the reason why, though I want to be positive and I make a plan and I say I'm not going to feel my negative emotions tomorrow morning, when I get up, I get sabotaged, I get completely ambushed. And something in my environment pulls me back to those toxic emotions. What pulls you back is some trigger that is there in the subconscious, which is 6,000 times stronger. Hence, no matter the good plans we make, it sometimes falls apart if our subconscious patterns, our blocks, the toxins that are sitting in the subconscious are not focused upon. The last and the small part here is the subconscious is again divided into two parts. The first part is what we call modern memory, is my life's memory. So from the time that I'm born till now, every moment of my life is filed. But it also has what we call as primitive memory. This is not my own files. These are files probably from my ancestors. This is where genetics come into play. This is where DNA comes into play. These are evolutionary memory that has come through me through generations and generations and generations. And for people who believe in past lives, they also say this is the place where the past life records are stored. To me as a therapist, it really doesn't matter what we call it. The fact is there are imprints from generations, from outside, from environment that we carry that has come to us, which is not our own. With this background, now whatever is triggering you, look at it from the mind science perspective. How, if we understand this, then we also understand that we can reprogram it. So whatever is the belief system, whatever are our experiences, this framework gives us an understanding that in life, we will not be going back and erasing something. We can neutralize it. So the triggers that you're getting today, due to social isolation, due to COVID-19 situation, may not be what is happening to you now. It may be like a domino, like, all the dominoes standing and then one falls and you're now pulling and you're now responding not only to the present situation, but you are responding to probably your own experiences, your belief system, your ancestral information, your genetics, everything. So it is much deeper than what we see. So the conscious mind is like, the mind is like an iceberg, the conscious mind being on the top and what is visible, whereas the subconscious is like underneath. How we do this? How do we now recognize my toxic emotion and how do I let it go? We first dissociate. I am not my experience. I may have had an experience of anxiety and that may be re-triggered now with the social isolation. But the first step is to detach it. And once you detach it, you're able to work on the toxicity. Imagine the files that you saw on the other slide, they have two parts. They have a memory, which is a fact, something happened, and they have charges to it. What we're going to work on now is to release and neutralize those charges. That is what we call in mind sciences as reprogramming or rewiring the mind. For ones who are interested, I will, at the end of the seminar, I'm going to also refer you some books, some articles that you can read and understand this more. It's intriguing. So that brings us to coming to a small exercise that you can now practice. So I'm going to take you through this exercise, but you can practice it for the next 21 days. It is like guided meditation, but not exactly so. It is a way where you can tap into the toxic emotions that you are storing at the level of your thoughts, at the level of your emotions, at the level of your energy and in your physical body. We're going to utilize all of that for you to track it and then release it. For that, you do not need any pen and paper. I'm just going to check the chat before we begin. I will come back to you, Komal, and I will come back to the question to Rehma Ali for the question on obesity and hormones. I have that in mind. Is there anything that you would like to ask me before we get into the exercise? Okay. Then I would request you to take a comfortable position. You can either sit with your legs crossed, or you can put your legs on the floor and with your hands on your lap. How to get out of fear, become free of it. Yes. Okay, so work on the fear in this exercise, Komal, and how to become free of it. We will do one technique today to face it, to actually dissociate it. And but there is more I can discuss with you maybe offline after the seminar if it's a particular fear. So free, make yourself comfortable and keep your back straight as much as you can. You don't have to be so straight that it will pain in 2 minutes, but keep your back straight and feet on the floor with hands on your lap, or you could sit in a cross-legged position and keep your hands on the lap and close your eyes. Rama, to answer your question, do we need to practice this for 21 days? You will find result even sometimes much before 21 days. Why we say 21 days is because it takes the brain to form new neural pathways to register a new habit. This is through the law of repetition, and the more you do it, multiples of 3, 7, 21, these are magic numbers, and the more you do it, your brain gets rewired. Not only the mind, but new neural pathways are formed. So in my personal experience, sometimes you get results way before 21 days, but I will always recommend doing it for at least 21 days. So keep your eyes closed and slowly breathe into your body. Keep your entire focus on your physical body and your entire focus on your breath. You can adjust your position and prepare yourself so that you're comfortable. Just keep your entire focus on your breathing. Do not change it. Just observe how you're breathing as of this evening. And as you settle down wherever you are, repeat to yourself 3 sentences, and I'm just going to read that out. Repeat to yourself, my name is, and you do it silently, you don't have to talk it loud. My age is, and this is my body. My name is, my age is, and this is my body. So you fill in the gaps and repeat, my name is dash, my age is dash, and this is my body. And once you've said that to yourself, be ready to start a journey deep within yourself. A journey which will take you slowly and quietly and very, very peacefully into the depths of your own inner quiet space. And now slowly prepare yourself to take 3 deep breaths. Relax and take a deep inhale and exhale. And after the 3 deep breaths, you can return back to your normal breathing. And you'll realize now with each and every breath, you will feel your breathing going a bit deeper. And the more you relax, the deeper you go. So just relax with your breath and give yourself permission to go deeper and deeper, deep into your very own quiet, safe space. Now imagine yourself wherever you are, you're surrounded by a violet colored bubble. This bubble is like a protection, like a sheath, and you are within its protective framework. And at this point in time, all your bodies and all your personalities are totally integrated, and you're enclosed within this bubble, which is your thoughts, your emotions, your energies, and your physical body. And you're aware that you're commencing this exercise to liberate from within you the seed of a painful memory. A memory which by its existence has triggered off pain or grief or an emotional turbulence in your normal, tranquil state. Keep your focus on your breath and permit yourself to enter the banks of your own memory and go back to that painful incident which you're looking to mentally heal today. This is related to your toxic emotions that are getting triggered during the social isolation. So just go back in time to that incident, that memory, that person who triggered it. So if it is fear, follow the root of fear. If it is guilt, if it is anxiety, it will be very different for each one of us. Just allow your mind to go back to that memory, that incident, or that person. Get in touch with those toxic emotions that you have stored with that memory. That heavy, sinking feeling in your heart. The grief, the pain, the frustration, the pain stored deep down in your subconscious mind. And as you now replay it, your awareness zones into this memory, and you will feel a discomfort coming in your body, in your muscles, maybe in your tissues, maybe in your bones. So now scan your physical body from your head to your toe and locate where you feel this slight discomfort. It may be guilt, it may be insecurity, fear, blame, anger, grief, abandonment, or something else. Whatever it is, now is the time to name it. You may have started with one, but you may come across a different one now, and it's perfectly okay. Just name it. And once you name it, give this emotion a color. Maybe you can give it a shape. Maybe you can give it a form. Understand it. And now let information flow. Get full understanding of the reason behind this emotion and the trigger for this. For today, it is sufficient just to know it, just acknowledge it, and do not judge it. And now that you feel it inside your physical body, and because you've chosen to heal yourself of this toxic emotion, now just shift your breathing pattern into a series of rapid breaths. So slowly increase the speed of your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And with each and every exhalation that you are releasing, imagine you're releasing this toxic negative emotion from your body. Release the toxic energies in and out, in and out. Release all your physical cellular memories. Keep releasing from your body, from your muscles, from your tissues, from your bones, from every part of your body, every cell of your body. Release the pain, the grief, And all this that is coming out now accumulates in the violet bubble around you. And as you feel that you have now completed this process of release, your body will slowly start to relax. The air around the body in the bubble is heavy. That's where you've released the toxic emotion. And now imagine a powerful shaft of light coming from the infinite above and falling on this bubble. And the bubble bursts open, releasing all the toxicity, accumulated thoughts, negative emotions, your energy blocks, your physical cellular memories. They all disappear. They get absorbed into this divine light. They all disappear. And they get absorbed into this divine light. You observe yourself to be calm, vacuum state of mind. The space around you is clearing. Mind, body is free of the toxic emotions of the past. And now a void has been created because you let go of this toxic emotion. And now you feel the need to fill it up. So go back one more time into the banks of your memory to perhaps the happiest moments in your life. It could be a moment, a memory, a person, or even the environment. And now a strange, familiar, joyous, happy feeling starts to occupy your heart. Get in touch with this feeling. The soft, smooth, silky, happy feeling just filling up your heart. And as it starts to fill up your heart, amplify it, make it bigger and bigger. It reaches each and every cell in your physical body, each meridian of your energy body, each emotion of your emotional body, and every thought of your mental body. All gets coated with this soft feeling of joy or happiness. Give it a name, whatever it means to you. Feel its texture, understand it, feel its color, feel its frequency, and feel its vibration. Anchor this in every organ, tissue, and cell of your body. Take a few moments and anchor it completely. And once you're ready and you feel it's enough, slowly allow all the images to recede back into the depths of your subconscious. And in a few moments, allow yourself to come back to the here and now. Allow all your bodies and personalities to integrate with your physical body. Slowly bring your focus back on your breathing. Feel your inhale, feel your exhale. Slowly move your fingers, your toes. Bring your attention to the here and now. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Thank yourself. Take your time. And slowly come back to the here and now. And once you come back, reach out for your pen and paper. You may note down whatever imprints, whatever impressions you've got. Name the emotion that you let go of and make a very good mental picture and note of what you got back. So for example, if I worked on my anxiety, I get back my relaxation. So make a mental note of it and also write it down. Rama says, you almost slept. Yes, yes, that is a very, very natural. You didn't sleep, but what happens is in a state of trance, in a state of hypnosis, we lose track of time and space sometimes, and it feels like we are falling asleep, which is very good, which means you were deep inside your own thoughts, your emotions, and this will definitely have an impact on you. Munira says, I feel I fly. Yes. In subconscious, there is no concept of time and space. So sometimes we feel lighter, feels like we are flying. Sometimes we feel that time has just passed, or sometimes it feels a little longer. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Now, you could continue with this exercise on your own. Just anchor exactly the way I anchored that one feeling, go back to that one memory or the person. Now, do not judge it and do not, this is not a blame game. You're just going to anchor it to bring it up into your system. And then with your breath work, you're going to release it into the bubble. And then the light falls and the bubble bursts. And then you feel a void because you've let go of something, which means in nature, we need to put something back. And that's when you go to either your happiest memories or anything that you want to fill it up with. Like I said, for me, it was anxiety versus relaxation. So I fill it up with relaxation. And you can continue this in your own meditative space, in your own trance for the next 21 days. And I'm pretty sure you will see the benefits of it. If there are any questions, what would you write? Just write down whatever word, whatever you want to make an account of. Maybe you had a picture, maybe you had a color. Like for example, if I gave my anxiety the color black and I gave my relaxation the color red. So it's only for you to remember it. So you can write down of what you experienced, but you already know it. It's inside of you. So the next time you do, you're more focused on it. So two very important exercises from today. One would be go back to your dose of happiness. It's a very cognitive exercise. You write it down and you do those exercises every day. You do like something for others. You do something for your body. You can bond with people. That is one very cognitive exercise. And this is more in terms of hypnosis. This is more in terms of the meditative space. And the two put together will definitely raise your vibration. It will take you to a point where you can not only identify, but label your emotions. Don't judge them, but find a very, it's a very safe and a secure way to release it and replace it with something that is more productive. Hi everyone, sorry, I got disconnected for some reason, but I'm back. So coming back to your questions, I had kept two to answer in the end. One was on obesity, right? I have lost all the chat from what I see, but I remember, Rema, was it you about obesity and hormones? So yes, when I work with clients with weight issues, yeah, it is a lot to do sometimes with hormones as well, especially if the obesity is related to, for example, PCOD or any other form of hormonal imbalance. As I said, I'm not a doctor to talk about which hormone causes what, but I can tell you, and that's my personal view, that weight is what is weight? Fat is adipose tissue. It's the purpose of fat cells in the body is to protect us. Fat is not bad, but yes, anything in excess is bad. So that's what happens when we are unable to, when our body goes in production of fat more than is required. We need adipose tissue, we need fat to protect our internal organs and even our bones and muscles. Now, if you look at it from that angle, which means that your body is, if I'm suffering with obesity, it means that my body is overproducing it, which means it doesn't know, which means that is controlled by the subconscious mind. So there must be some either fear or anxiety or a feeling of not being safe, and that is probably the reason of binge eating, emotional eating. It's like, it's like a bottomless pit. You're trying to fill something in, but there is no end to it. So yes, exactly what I said, Rama. It's binge eating, it's emotional eating, which means there's a trigger. It's not that you're hungry. There's a trigger for it. And imagine it to be like this well, with bottomless pit. No matter how much you eat, it doesn't go away, because the answer is just not in the physical body. The answer is in the subconscious mind. So as I said, I will not get into a lot of details, because it's a group, and this is also being recorded, and this is on Facebook. So I will leave my contact details. If anybody wants to talk in details about a specific condition, I will be very happy to guide you through it. But look at fat just not from the physical aspect of it. It is protecting you. So if your body is saying it has to be protected, what is it that is there? Now, you may know it consciously, or you may know it, and you will definitely know it if it is subconscious. There would be different ways and means to understand it from the subconscious. Or it may be related to feeling of not feeling safe. So if binge eating is something that is happening during lockdown and social isolation, of course, there's a huge threat. There's a threat in the environment, and maybe I'm not feeling safe. And that is my body's way, or my subconscious mind is making it work in a way where I am binge eating. But with or without COVID, with or without social isolation, fat gain or weight definitely has way bigger subconscious imprints that we are working on. Let me know if that answers it, or if you want to get into details, we can chat offline for sure. And there was Komal wanted to know about what you missed. Komal, what is the time you came in? Just tell me where were you, like where did you start, and I can just recap what we did in before that. And if there are, as I wait for Komal, if there's any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can just chat. Okay, you saw everything after happy hormones. Okay. So, did you see this slide, Komal? Because it is important, even before we go into talking about before that. What we did was an exercise. Now, these are the hormones that are called happy hormones, that bring in that zing in our lives. Just a second. Thank you so much. Okay, that's Hilmari. Thank you so much. Bye for now. So you saw this slide. So this is the exercise which we said that you can do it. You can choose one activity under each category, very cognitively, very much in your conscious mind presence, and you can do it. It will boost your moods for sure. What you probably missed is before this we were talking about the connection between emotions and hormones. So we were talking that we exist in different bodies. It's just not our physical bodies. Hormones, of course, they're impacting our physical bodies, but we have a body of thought, we have a body of emotions, and we have energy bodies. That is where we are talking of hormones, because when we talk of energy body, we are talking of aura, which is the electromagnetic field around us, and we are talking of chakras, which are the energy centers or the wheels through which the life force is flowing. Now, how we relate that to hormones is when you look at where these centers, the chakras are placed. And if you look at human anatomy, you'll realize that each chakra is placed right above an endocrine gland. Now, that brings us to our endocrine system, our glandular system. These glands secrete hormones, and they should ideally be doing it in the same, in a fixed proportion. But when a thought or a negative, a toxic emotion is part, so it flows from the thoughts to the emotions, it comes down to the level of energy, which we are talking about now, the chakras, the endocrine system, the hormones. So instead of the hormones being secreted in the right amount, instead of the body metabolizing, like we spoke about fat and weight gain, metabolizing in the right fashion, the chakras get blocked, or alternatively we say we have hormonal imbalance. So we know that when we have hormonal imbalance, the next thing that happens in our physical body is we say we have disease. If you break the word disease, it's dis-ease. It's going away from ease. And that's when we feel it in our body. So this is what you missed. And this led us to the exercise that if we know and we believe, and it's medically proven that hormones affect our bodies, our emotions, then a very good exercise is to look at how we can actually support this. We can support the happy hormones, the dose of your, it's what I would call is the daily dose of your happiness. So that's how you landed on this page, and that is the only teeny mini part that you miss. Can we see our aura? Yes, you can. You can. It's very easy to feel it as well, because if you sit in a place, if you try to, you will feel the electromagnetic field around you. Sometimes you can even like, I'm not an expert in auras, but if you place somebody against a white wall and you look at it, you will be able to see auras. But I'm pretty sure there are aura photography workshops that happen. An aura changes, it can shrink and it can expand. It doesn't allow you to unmute. Oh. Okay, no problem. Thank you, Komal. I'm glad you liked it. And as I said, I will leave behind my contact details, mine or Illuminations. You can contact. And if there are any questions that you get later, I will be very happy to answer that. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. It was a pleasure being with you. Now we'll draw an end to it. Have a very good evening. Thank you so much. Bye.